Hey guys, happy Monday morning. It's March 30th and we're ready for another great week of digital learning. What we're going to do is we're going to work through a couple problems together. You guys have been rocking the coordinate planes. I do want to look a little bit more at the finding ordered pairs. If you hear something in the background, we are running water in the pool right now, so hopefully that doesn't get too distracting. What we're going to do is we're going to look at this first problem here. It says, look at the ordered pairs plotted on the grid. Plot two more ordered pairs that follow the same rule. Explain how you know your ordered pairs follow the same rule as the ones on the grid. Well, here's the deal. With problems like this, they don't give us a rule. They give us the points on the coordinate plane, so our job is to come up with a rule. So what I want you to do is I want you right now to go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to come up with the x and the y coordinates and go ahead and write them out, either on a piece of paper or something that you have. And let's look at it together and see, what do we notice? What's the pattern that you see here? Alright guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to keep looking at that problem. I drew myself a little graph over here. It says, like we said, it said look at the ordered pairs. If I look, I'm going to go ahead and type out my x's that I have in this problem. My first x would be 4 and my y would be 8. So I know that my x coordinate, we said, would be 4. And my y coordinate would be 8. So I'm going to put those here. And then what I need to do is look next, and you probably went ahead and saw that the next coordinate would be at x is 5, and the y would be at 6. So you would put in 5, and then we'd put in 6. And then the next one was my x, it would be at 6, and my y would be at 4. So what I can actually notice now is looking at this pattern, if I needed to figure out what my rule would be, if I look at my x and I'll look at my y, there is something that's happening in both. In my y column, it looks like it goes from 8, 6, down to 4. So those numbers are decreasing, and my x-axis, those numbers would be increasing. So as my x is increasing by 1 each time, 4, 5, 6, my y is decreasing by 2. So my rule would be as my x goes up by 1, my y is going down by 2. So what I can do is I can put on my rule at the top, I could put plus 1 by my x, and I could put minus 2 by my y. And then if I wanted to find my other points, what I could do is I could say that my next x I could put would be 7. And again, if my rule is adding 1 in the x, then that means each time in the y it's going to go down by 2. So my next y coordinate would be 2. And then if I did another one, my next x would be 8 because it's going up. Click over. My next x would be 8. And then my next y would be 0. And then what I can do is I can go back and plot these last two ordered pairs, because that's what the problem says. It would be to plot those ordered pairs. So I have 7 and 2. So I would go x would be 7, y is 2. So I would put my mark there. And then I had an x of 8, and my y coordinate would be 0. So I would go on my x axis to 8. Since my y is 0, I would stay on the 0 for the y. And those would be my next 2 points. So that's how we would solve that one there. Alright guys, so this next problem here we have is talking about emperor penguins. It says, suppose that an emperor penguin doubles in weight each month for the first 5 months of its life. In the 3rd month, it weighs 12 pounds. Create a table to record the weight of the penguin in its first 5 months of life. Then graph the points on a coordinate plane. So what we're going to do is I want you to go and take a second and I want you to draw a table that has 2 columns and it has 5 rows. So go ahead and pause the video and do that on yours. Alright guys, so if you haven't already drawn your graph and it looks like mine, go ahead and pause the video again, take a second and go ahead and write it out here. What it says again, I'll read it again, it says, suppose that an emperor penguin doubles in weight each month for the first 5 months of its life. In the third month, it weighs 12 pounds. What they've done right there is they've already given you some important information to help you kind of fill out your graph. In the third month, it weighs 12 pounds. So if you notice in my graph, what I went ahead and did is I put under month, I put the third month, and I put the weight is 12. Now, what they did tell us is they already gave us a hint. They said that the weight of the penguin doubles each month. So what that would mean is, since I have 5 months, what I can go ahead and do is, if I want to, I could label each of my X coordinates, or each month. So I can go ahead and put 1, then I can put 2. I already have month 3, so I'm going to put month 4. And then I'm going to put month number 5. And since I know that the weight doubles each month, if it's getting bigger as it goes into month 4 and 5, it's also going to weigh 2 times less in months 2 and 1. So what I can do is, if I think, what number do I double to get 12, it would be 6. So in month 2, it weighed 6 pounds, and that means because 6 doubled would be 12. So then I got to think, what number could I double to get 6? Well, that would be number 3, because 3 doubled would give me 6. So I know that if I look at the weights, in the first month it weighed 3 pounds. Second month it doubled, it weighs 6 pounds. In the third month its weight doubled again, so it's 12 pounds. So if I keep following that same pattern, if 12 doubles, then in the fourth month our emperor penguin should weigh 24 pounds. I can get it to move. There we go. And then lastly, for that 5th month, if its weight doubles again, 24 doubled would give me 48. So in a problem like this, you're still getting your coordinates, and I still have ordered pairs here that I could graph. So I have 1 and 3. That would tell me in 1 month the penguin weighed 3 pounds. Then in 2 months, I know the penguin weighed 6 pounds. In 3 months, the penguin weighed 12 pounds. In 4 months, the penguin weighed 24 pounds. And in 5 months, the emperor penguin weighed 48 pounds. So using just the information here, you were able to come up with your patterns following those rules. So if you have any questions on this one, send me a message and I can go back over it with you one-on-one. Alright guys, this is going to be our next problem we're going to look at today. It says, Juanita bought a toy poodle puppy that was 8 weeks old. She named her puppy Shiloh. At 8 weeks old, Shiloh was 6 inches tall. Every 4 weeks after that, Shiloh grew 1 inch. How many inches tall was Shiloh at 24 weeks old? So it says to create a table to show Juanita's growth. It should be to show Shiloh's growth. Sorry guys, it should be Shiloh's growth. Plot the points on a coordinate plane. Explain how the table and plotting the points help you to solve how many inches tall he was at 24 weeks. So we're going to go step by step in this problem. So guys, one thing we need to do here is we have our coordinate plane, but we don't have either side that's labeled. So what we want to do is, in the problem, it tells us how tall in inches Shiloh is, and it also tells us the number of weeks old Shiloh is. So what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and label our graph. And since it tells us that we're going to be looking at the number of weeks, we're going to make weeks is going to be our x-axis. So at the very bottom, we're going to put weeks old. And then on the other side, if my x-axis is going to be my weeks, then I need to make sure that my y-axis is going to be how many inches tall Shiloh is. So I'm going to make the other side be how many inches tall. So what we want to do now is we want to look at what the data in the problem says. So if we go back, it says Juanita bought a toy poodle puppy that was 8 weeks old. She named her puppy Shiloh. At 8 weeks old, Shiloh was 6 inches tall. So we're going to stop there, and we're going to go ahead and create a graph. Hey guys, so again, I went ahead and made my graph here. And if we go back to the problem, again, it says that she bought her puppy, and we know the puppy was 8 weeks old. So what I'm going to start with is I'm going to start with 8, because I know I had 8. And it says that when she bought him at 8 weeks old, he was 6 inches tall. So I know at 8 weeks, he was 6 inches tall. Then it says every 4 weeks after that, Shiloh grew 1 inch. How many inches tall was Shiloh at 24 weeks old? So one is we're going to have to get to 24 weeks to see how tall he is. And it also says that every 4 weeks, he grows 1 inch. So that tells me my x-axis, I'm not going to be going up by 1 each time, or even 2. I'm going to be going up by 4 each time. So if I'm at 8, that means my next x-axis would be 12. And every 4 weeks, Shiloh grew 1 inch. So that means after 4 weeks, he's grown 1 inch. So if he was at 6 inches, he would now be at 7 inches. So I will repeat this again. If he is at 12 weeks, the next 4 weeks would put us at 16 weeks. And that would mean that he grows another inch. So he would be 8 inches at 16 weeks. Then in 4 more weeks, it would be at 20 weeks. And if we keep following the same pattern, every 4 weeks he grows 1 inch. He would be at 9 inches. And then lastly, if he goes up, we wait 4 more weeks, we'd be at 24 weeks. And if the pattern if we keep following the same rules in the y-axis, if he was 9 inches at 20 weeks, 4 more weeks have passed, so he grows another inch. At 24 weeks old, he would be 10 inches tall. So using our rule that they gave us in the problem, and we follow that with our chart, we're given our ordered pairs now. So what I can do is I can take these ordered pairs and I can graph them. So we're going to graph them before we get done with this problem. So if my x-axis is my number of weeks, my y-axis will be the inches. So first ordered pair would be count 8 on the x-axis, and we're going to go up to 6, and we're going to put a little point. Doing the best I can with that. Then I'm going to go to 12 on my x-axis and up to 7. So I'm going to go out to 12, and I'm going to go up to 7. Then I would have 16 and 8, so I'd go out to 16. I would go up to 8. I'd put my point. Then I would have 20 and 9, so I'd go out to 20 on my x-axis, up to 9 on my y. And then I would have 24 on my x-axis, and I would go up to 10 on my y-axis. And what is cool about looking at this data is you can actually see, if we follow it, I'm going to do the best I can to make a straight line, you can actually see that it's increasing, which is what's happening to his size. Over the 24 weeks, he is growing and getting taller every 4 weeks. Guys, you guys have been doing an awesome job with the coordinate planes and finding the ordered pairs, like I said at the beginning. I appreciate you guys watching the videos. If you have any questions, comment. After this, you're going to have a flip grid to do and respond to, so please make sure you're doing that. And throughout the week, if you have any questions, go back to this video and watch it again. And like I said, reach out to me if you have any questions. Thanks, guys. Have a great Monday.